Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session, the last session of Indian literature. We will have another course in the coming week. How do you like that? Every week a new course. That is our style. So we are going into Indian drama first, and then I'll be talking to you about Dalit literature. Would you like that? Ta-da-dang! People are still joining. You are ready, guys? Let us start with Indian drama. You know, the early stalwarts, the most important pioneers of drama in India, even before Indian drama in English started, is Rabindranath Tagore in Bengali. Sacrifice, remember, is a major play by Rabindranath Tagore. Then Samsa and Kuvempu in Kannada. Subramanya Bharati in Tamil, C.N. Srikandan Nair in Malayalam, Bharatendu Harishchandra and Jai Shankar Prasad in Hindi, Utpal Dutt and Shambhu Mitra in Bengal. These are the earliest stalwarts. They wrote many plays in vernacular languages, and many times their plays were translated into English. They established Indian drama. Now listen to me, guys. Indian drama did not begin in the 20th century, of course. Indian drama had at least 200 years of tradition or more than that when India got independence. A minimum of 200 years of tradition is already there at the time India got independence. And did you know, in independent India, the Parsis played a very important role in establishing theatre. The Parsi theatre was a very important influence on Indian theatre. The Parsi theatre was an indoor theatre, and so many of the post-independence playwrights were influenced by Western traditions. So, in the 20th century, you can see a confluence of Western and Eastern traditions, especially starting from the period of these writers. Look at some very important early developments. In our upcoming complete course, I will be dealing with all these things in very great detail. This PPT that I am giving you, this presentation that I am making, is a small summary of what I am going to teach in the upcoming complete course. Oh, MH set result aa gaya. Shubhangi, congratulations, you deserve it. You deserve it. First Indian play must be thousands of years ago. You mean first Indian English play? The first Parsi baronet. We have already talked about it before, 2 days ago. The first Parsi baronet. Shubhangi, you deserve every bit of it. You are a wonderful scholar. Then, Sangeet Natak Academy. They will ask you these questions. Sangeet Natak Academy was established in 1953. National School of Drama was established in 1959. Getting me, guys? And yes, I already talked about it, the prosecuted by Krishna Mohan Banerjee. I talked about it. But the first Indian play is actually said to be first Parsi baronet. We have to check again which is the earliest play. I think A.K. Mehrotra ji has talked about Krishna Mohan Banerjee, but Srinivas Iyengar has talked about first Parsi baronet. Now, National School of Drama and Sangeet Natak Academy led to a great deal of developments in drama. Rangamandal in Bhopal, Kalakshetra in Chennai, all these are very important organizations still. Chorus Theatre in Imphal, they are very important theatre groups. Listen everybody, these days they will never ask questions like which is the first Indian play and all that. They might ask you to chronologically arrange. But factual details alone they are not asking at all. They are asking analytical details. So when you study like that. Memorizing facts like we did in the past is like useless kind of. Now, so please follow these names. They are all very important schools that led to developments in drama. Modern playwrights include Vijay Tendulkar, Badal Sarkar, Dharamvir Bharati, Mohan Rakesh. We have to talk about many of them in detail, but some of them are writers only in the vernacular. For example, we will not be talking about Chandrasekhara Kambara or P. Lankesh. They wrote in Kannada. Indira Parthasarathi in Tamil. A few of them wrote in English and their vernacular language, and many of them had their plays translated into English as well. Badal Sarkar was associated with the Shatabdi Theatre Group. Badal Sarkar, an early playwright in India, was the man who brought the absurd theatre and the parallel theatre movement into India. Badal Sarkar's plays have existentialist themes dealing with identity, and like many great playwrights, he was not only a playwright, he was also a theatre director, a personality actor. And Badal Sarkar was engaged with the Naxalite movement. Badal Sarkar was engaged with the Naxalite movement. He was very anti-establishment in his ideology. He was the recipient of many awards, Padma Shri, Sangeet Natak Academy Award, etc. Very revolutionary is his play Evam Indrajit. Evam Indrajit is the story of some ordinary people. Kamal, Amal, Vimal and Nirmal. And one of them, they are all ordinary middle class people engaged with the same things in life. And the same going to school, going to college, passing exams, getting a job, getting married, having children. And only Nirmal among them, who is called Indrajit, seems to be a little different. But Indrajit at first wants to marry Manasi. Manasi is every woman. You and I are Manasi. And eventually, even though he appeared different from everybody else, at the end, he also ended up marrying another Manasi. So ultimately, there is no difference. We are all the same. There is no point in writing a play about middle class life. There is a playwright on the stage sitting and writing. And there is no point in writing about anybody. They're all the same. And that is why the play is titled Evam Indrajit. And Indrajit, that is the meaning. Evam Indrajit means and Indrajit. Of course, it's a Sanskrit title. And so it is all middle class people at the end. It's a criticism of the middle class society. So that is the play Evam Indrajit. The disorganized, fragmented life of the modern man, the meaninglessness of existence, and the inhumanity of our society. These are the themes. I have listed out other plays by Badal Sarkar, but we have a lot to do today, so I'm not going into it. I have so much very good material here in this PPT, so please stay with me till the end. It will help you immensely. Then we have Mahashweta Devi, one of the earliest activists for Dalits. born in 1926. Mahashweta Devi was a writer in Bengali, and one of her earliest works was a biography of Jhansi Ki Rani, the Queen of Jhansi. It was translated by Sagari and Mandira Sen Gupta. Mahashweta Devi went on to write many important works, novels, short stories, and some of her novels and short stories were turned into plays also. Hajar Chaur Shirma, or Mother of 1084, is the story of Sujata, the mother of Brati, wife of Dibyanath. Sujata is, in her own small way, a rebellious woman. Her husband doesn't care for her, and he doesn't understand her, but she is rebelling against having more children, and she is rebelling against her husband's oppression in a small way. And then she comes to realize what her son is. Her son was a revolutionary. She comes to know about this, and she understands what her son meant to the society, similar to mother of Maxim Gorky. So like that, she has written about a lot of issues faced by subaltern people, and a lot of issues faced by the untouchables. I do not want to speculate on RPSC assistant professor. When the result comes, it will come. I don't want to speculate. So please don't spam the group, Chandan. I saw that, but when the result comes, it will come. I don't know. I don't want to just say something that is not true. I hope you will pass. It looks like you've got a good score. Probably. I don't know. Now, Aranya Radhikar, as everybody knows, is a very important novel, like Hajar Chaur Shirma. Aranya Radhikar is a very important novel for which she is known for, and it is a very important issue of the Dalits and the tribals that she has talked about in this novel, and it received a Sahitya Academy Award in 1979. Aranya Radhikar is about Birsa Munda, the tribal freedom fighter. Then Agnigarbha is a series of short stories. Agnigarbha is her first major collection. After that, she has written a number of short story collections, Murti, and so on and so forth. Very famous is Thanadaini. Thanadaini is breast stories, translated as the breast stories by Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak. Chandan, I hope you will pass. I don't want to speculate because I have no idea about it, the cutoff. It may be right or wrong. So I'm praying that all my students pass. Lot of my students have written. No problem, Chandan. I know your anxiety. Lot of my students have written. I hope they pass. I can only say that. No, he deleted it, na? Abhi to theek hai, na? Okay. Stanadaini is the breast stories. It contains 3 stories. As all of you might know, Dopdi is the story of Draupadi, is the story of a very strong tribal woman, Dopdi, who stands up against the establishment and the police. Her husband, Dulna, is killed by the police, and she is gang raped by the police. But she walks naked after the rape and pushes the Sena Nayak with her mangled breasts without being scared. Of course, she will be killed. But She puts up her resistance and her breast, mangled breast, becomes the site for resistance. Simran, I sometimes send PDF together in 2 days. There is no guarantee that I will send that same day immediately. I might have other things to do. My son was traveling to his college yesterday, and at night I had to immediately take care of such things. I'm a human being, not a PDF vending machine. Then Choli ke Piche and also Sthanadaini. These are the 3 stories of the series or the anthology collection, the breast stories. In all these short stories, there are women who are using, their breasts become the site of their resistance. Jashoda, the character in Sthanadaini, is another important character. Choti Munda, that's a very famous work as well. One of her novel, the Hajar Chauri Shirma or Mother of 1084, and 4 other short stories like Bayen, they were dramatized by Mahashweta Devi. She turned them into plays and published them as 5 plays. Then Gayatri Spivak's translations are very important. Samik Bandyopadhyay, that is another major translator of Mahashweta Devi, Samik Bandyopadhyay. And also Seagull Books. That is the most famous publisher of Mahashweta Devi. You know, for Indian writers, they will ask about publishers, translators. So for all these books, please remember that major translators, publishers, etc. Gayatri Spivak has also translated Imaginary Maps and Old Woman. These are the other important works of Mahashweta Devi, translated by Gayatri Spivak. Okay, guys? I will send PDF tonight. My son has reached there. I told you now already one day before that my son is going. And you guys prayed for him too. Yes, Chandan will qualify. He is just unnecessarily scared. Now we have the very famous playwright Vijay Tendulkar. Vijay Tendulkar was born in Maharashtra, Kolhapur. Wow, I have gone to Kolhapur University to teach there. And Shivaji University, Kolhapur. And then I love the food and things there. Vijay Tendulkar was born there. He has written novels, Kadambari Ek, Kadambari Do. They are 2 novels. And he wrote very philosophical short stories and plays. His plays are very philosophical. The Householder was an early play that he wrote when he was only in his 20s. He was very young. And all his plays show the various aspects of Indian social reality of the contemporary times. Gidhade is a social play like that. It is called, translated into English as The Vultures. Like in many of his plays, in Gidhade also, he shows a very degenerate society. A society where morals are all falling apart. And there is no more any compassion. Shantada Court Chalu Aahe is a famous play where a group of people are rehearsing a play for performance. During the rehearsal, in order to teach one of their new actors about court proceedings, they enact court proceedings, and font is too small. You can't see properly. Arey. You must be watching from a phone, right? Okay, I will edit it. 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. I was going to talk about Shantada Court Chalu Hai, where a group of people from the middle class, they are rehearsing a play, and the theme of the rehearsal or the acting that they are doing before the rehearsal is female infanticide. So, not female. A woman has killed her illegitimate child. That is it. A woman has killed her illegitimate child. And the role of that guilty woman is being acted by Leela Banare, a school teacher who is unmarried, who is living her life the way she wants. She has an extramarital affair with a professor. And the whole rehearsal that is happening turns into a torture for her. The people engaged in the rehearsal, in a very brilliantly written dialogues, they just turn against her and expose her, accuse her of being immoral. The funny part is, nobody is bothered about the partner in crime, the man who is involved in the affair. Nobody is finding fault with. They are only finding fault with the woman. And then at the end, you know what happens? She gives a monologue, she gives a speech where she shows the hypocrisy of the society. That is the play Shantada Court Chalu Hai. Sakharam Binder is a very famous play as well. Here, the protagonist Sakharam Binder is going against social conventions, and he is trying to give a new life to some women. He is picking up women who have been discarded by their husbands or men, fallen women, sex workers, servants, etc. And he is giving them shelter in his house, but he is like a tyrant ruling over them. He is oppressing them. Lakshmi is an important character here. And whether it is possible to really overcome this patriarchy in that manner, how deeply rooted patriarchy is in our life, that is the major theme in the play, Sakharam Binder. I have not written all his plays. There are so many. Kashiram Kotwal is also there. I don't know I think I didn't mention it. Did I mention it? Kashiram Kotwal is also there. Kanyadan is another important work. It is translated into English, I think. And like many of his plays, this play is about the class divisions in society, the hypocrisies of the society. Upper class Dalit conflict is a very major theme in this play. Kanyadan means giving away the daughter. Kashiram Kotwal also is a play originally written in Marathi. It is a 1972 play. Sakharam Binder and Kashiram Kotwal. I will write here. And this play was banned, I think. It is about the rise of a political party. Hi, Vijay. Congratulations. It is a historical and political play. It was based on some political issues in Maharashtra. Mitrachi Goshta, Futparicha Samrat. These are all very important. Mitaki Kahani. So there could be a question based on Vijay Tendulkar. He is a very prominent Indian playwright because of the way he treats social issues and because of his unique style of writing. It is very, very important that you know more about his plays. Then, Asif Karimboy. Asif Karimboy is also a writer who has depicted Indian society and its class issues very powerfully. Asif Karimboy has been a playwright and a producer, a director, etc. And he has written a number of important plays that I have listed out here. Asif Karimboy's oeuvre is completely in English, unlike many other playwrights in India. He has not written in any other language. And in him, we can see a lot of modernist elements, contemporary elements, use of monologues and choruses, like in Tennessee Williams, on stage, film footage, things like that. So, the important plays are The Restaurant and its sequel, The Captives. Then The Dole Drummers, The Tourist Mecca, Dumb Dancer, very famous is Goa. Now, many of these plays talk about post-colonial issues. For example, Goa is a major play about racial discrimination. Monsoon, The Hungry Ones. As I have already told you, when you read Indian literature, please use the Google Scholar facility. You will see a lot of research articles on these writers and they will contain many good material. Yeah, Inkulab, Goa, Hungry Ones are all prescribed plays. Girish Karnad next. He has written both Kannada plays and their translations. Tughlaq is a play rooted in history, and Tughlaq tells the story of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the historical ruler of Delhi Sultanate, who wanted in a rather crazy manner to shift the capital of Delhi Sultanate from Delhi to Daulatabad. And once everybody reached there, he decided to bring back everyone. In the meanwhile, a lot of people died. The Sultan's enemies also died. However, at the end of the play, it's like he's going mad. So, politics is like madness. That is the suggestion. All of us are familiar with Hayavadana. Hayavadana is the story of Kapila and Devdatta. Two men, both of them love Padmini. Padmini gets married to Devdatta, and all the story is being told to us because of a Nada and Hayavadana and Bhagavata. They are the people in the frame narrative. There is a Hayavadana, means a man with a horse head who is searching for completion. The whole play begins with the puja of Ganesh, who is also the god of incompletion or completeness. And the search for completeness is the theme in the play. Padmini is searching for completeness, but she is torn between the two men. Ultimately, the men kill each other. No, before that, one kills himself, the other kills himself. And Padmini, who is in love with both men in two different ways, she loves Devdatta's head and Kapila's body, and she unites Devdatta's head and Kapila's body, and vice versa. So, who is the husband? Of course, the man with Devdatta's head becomes her husband, but then he gradually changes into Kapila, into Devdatta. The body also becomes like Devdatta's. So, at the end, Kapila and Padmini live together for 2-3 days, and then the men kill each other. Because they can't be complete. Devdatta can never be Kapila, Kapila can never be Devdatta. And Padmini also performs Sati. The whole play is highly ironic. Here is a woman with two men performing sati, because sati is supposed to be performed by pativratas. Anyway, Padmini's son, who is actually Kapila's son, is going to be brought up by Devadatta. And he starts laughing at the end when he sees Hayavadana, the man with a horse head and a horse's voice. And then slowly they reach completion with each other, Hayavadana and the baby and the child. This is a play with a lot of... he died, I'm sorry, of course he died. I forgot to add that. When was it? 2019 or 18 or something. Sorry. Let me see which year he died. As all of 2019. As all of you know, he was equally famous as an actor and a film personality. Then Yayati is based on Mahabharata. The play Yayati is the story of Yayati getting the curse. Yayati is the husband of Devyani and the lover of Sharmishta. Devyani's father, the sage Shukracharya, curses him that he will grow old by the end of the day. He transfers his old age to his half-caste son Puru and lives 1000 years as young. So all these plays, Hayavadana, Yayati, Tughlaq, they're all allegorical of the degenerate and corrupt Indian society of the post-colonial period. Anjumallige is set in England, I think. It is a very rare play that is set outside India. Then Nagamandala is a play based on folktale again, where Rani, the wife of Appanna, is very dissatisfied with her life and a cobra begins to approach her in the guise of her husband. This is a play with double endings. Dreams of Tipu Sultan, Fire and the Rain. These are all plays that he wrote in Kannada first. Bali, the sacrifice, Tale Danda, a heap of broken images, and flowers are both in the guise of monologues. Manjula, isn't it? Manjula. Flowers is a play which is a monologue of a priest. Both these plays show identity crisis, and Wedding Album is the story of a family and a wedding that is going to happen in the family and how it affects the family. Boiled Beans on Toast, Crossing the Talikota. These are other plays. They can ask you any of these plays. They're all very famous and important. Uma Parameshwaran. Uma Parameshwaran is a playwright who is famous for her first play, Sons Must Die. Sons Must Die. And she was also a short story writer and poet. Sita's Promise also is somewhat important. They are both prescribed in some universities. The next playwright is Pratap Sharma. Pratap Sharma's plays like A Touch of Brightness are quite famous. He is a playwright that we don't study a lot in our universities, but he is very important. A.K. Mehrotra ji has written about him in his Illustrated History of Indian Literature. A Touch of Brightness, I think, is his most famous play, 64-65. It is about Rukmini, a girl sold to a brothel in Mumbai. Prostitution is the theme. Stories about plays and novels about prostitution in India can be a theme for research also. I have a book in my library called Prostitution. It's about the social concept and effects of prostitution and its growth as an institution. So that could be a good topic for research. Manjula Padmanabhan became very famous with Harvest, but she has also written Lights Out. Lights Out is about sexual abuse of a woman, and the society is silent about it. Harvest is about organ selling. Om Prakash has sold his organs to Interplanta Services, one company, American company. And Ginny is supposed to be the person who has bought his organs. But ironically, these people are groomed inside a small flat, like chicken are reared. And ironically, at the end, Om Prakash's son Jeetu, who has a venereal disease, is taken away for organ transplant, thinking that he is Om Prakash. They take Jeetu away. And Ginny turns out to be an old man called Virgil. They will ask you details to check whether you have read or whether you have first-hand understanding of these works. So that is a very important playwright, Manjula Padmanabhan. Then there is Cyrus Mistry. Cyrus Mistry has written a play that is very famous. It is Dungaji House. Cyrus Mistry, as you know, is the brother of Rohinton Mistry, and he has written this play as well as some novels and short story collections. Not a very famous writer, but he is indeed famous. Mahesh Dattani, now the most important playwright perhaps of today. Mahesh Dattani writes a lot about gender themes and communal themes, social themes. He was the first playwright to be awarded the Sahitya Academy Award. Where There Is a Will is the story of Hasmukh Mehta, a patriarch controlling his family. Brother, Om Prakash's son is Jeetu. Sorry, not son, brother is Jeetu. Om Prakash's wife Jaya is having some relationship with Jeetu. Then Hasmukh Mehta, a Gujarati patriarch, is controlling his family even after his death. That is the story of Where There Is a Will. Very famous is Dance Like a Man. In Dance Like a Man, you can see a man who is a classical dancer. His name is Jairaj Parekh. Jairaj Parekh is the son of Amritlal Parekh, a freedom fighter. Jairaj Parekh wants Jairaj Parekh wants to become a dancer, but Amritlal Parekh manipulates his own wife, Jairaj's wife, Ratna, and destroys his son's career. Yeah, Bharatnatyam dancers. Now the story is centered around Jairaj Parekh and Ratna's frustrations in the context of their daughter Lada and her boyfriend Vishwas. So it is about masculinity. Tara is about two conjugal twins, Tara and Chandan. Even in the case of conjugal twins, you should understand there is gender discrimination. It is later that Chandan comes to realize that the family wanted Tara to die and Chandan to be saved because he's a boy. Bravely Fought the Queen is also similarly a play exposing hypocrisies of the society based on gender. Family is a theme in all these major plays. And here, Daksha is a deformed child. So they can ask you like this question: in which play are conjugal twins protagonists? A deformed child, born deformed because of the sufferings of her mother, Daksha. That is the theme of Mahesh Dattani's Bravely Fought the Queen. Then we have Final Solutions. Final Solutions also has a Daksha. Hardika used to be called Daksha. Hardika is an older woman. Her son is Ramanik Gandhi, and daughter-in-law is Aruna. They are living during the time of communal riots. And Hardika, in her past as Daksha, she remembers 40 years ago a similar communal riot. Today, in today's context, 2 Muslims are taking shelter in their house. And what do the family members do about it? That is the main theme in Final Solutions. Listen to me, guys. All these plays have very unconventional stage settings. All these plays have double stage and things like that. Here in Final Solutions, you have a ramp on stage, and on the ramp, the mob is acting. The communal riot is taking place on the ramp. So the 2 Muslim boys who take refuge in their house are Baban and Javed. Now, On a Muggy Night in Mumbai, which is also the movie Mango Souffle, is about the rich fashion designer Kamlesh. Kamlesh he is homosexual. He had a partner called Prakash. And Prakash left Kamlesh to marry somebody else. And yes, it has an open end. That is not the meaning of Final Solutions, though. Final Solutions refer to the Nazi pogrom. But it also shows that there are no final solutions. Correct. Then I was going to say that Kamlesh and Prakash broke up. And later it is clear that Prakash is going to marry Kamlesh's sister, Kiran. So the whole play centers on Kamlesh and his friends who are gathered in a Mumbai flat, and their homosexual culture and the traumas of being homosexual. That is the theme of On a Muggy Night in Mumbai. 7 Circles Round the Fire is a very ironic title because 7 circles round the fire relates to marriage and gender. But in this radio play, what you see is not marriage and gender, but the plight of hijras or the trans women. A trans woman is killed, and there is another woman who is trying to find out what is behind this murder. Did you understand? That is the story of 7 Circles Round the Fire. Then what are the names of the people? Do you remember? Uma, I think, is the detective. What are the names of the people? I suddenly can't remember. Do you remember the names of the people? Uma, isn't it? She's the wife of a police superintendent. Kamala is the Hijra woman. Kamala. Yes. Then, okay, so even though 7 circles round the fire originally means marriage, it becomes like an ordeal. It becomes like, the path to death rather than marriage. 30 Days in September is a play that talks about a mother and daughter, both abused by the same man, Vinay, who is the mother's brother. Shanta is the mother. Daughter's name is, I'm very bad at remembering these names. Mala. Is it Mala? The daughter's fiancé Deepak is the one who is finally saving the daughter and mother from this trauma. The daughter always wondered why her mother is not protecting her, but then she realizes that her mother is also a silent victim of the same kind of abuse. Then Brief Candle. Brief Candle is a play centered on cancer victims. Cancer is the theme in Brief Candle. Where did I leave my parda? The Big Fat City. These are other important plays. Deena Mehta is a Parsi playwright. Her list of works I've given here. If you get time, please look up. In the complete course that is coming up, I will be dealing with all these in great detail. Whatever they ask in net style, I will teach, because I have found out the important books and everything from which I can teach you. Now we come to Dalit literature. Hi Preeti, congratulations. Wonderful. More and more people are passing. Wonderful. Dalit literature. In the history of Dalit literature, there are many Hindu saints who could be important. Hindu saints in the history of Dalit literature: Madra Chennaiya, Dohra Kakkaiya, Chokkamela, Khasidas, Namdev, Ravidas. They might ask you some of these things, so remember. They are very early, important playwrights. Sorry, not playwrights, Hindu saints. Then the pioneers of Dalit studies. Some major names who are also activists include Mulk Rajanand, who wrote Untouchable, Mahashweta Devi, who wrote many works based on Dalit experience, Namdev Dhasal, who is the founder of Dalit Panthers, Basudev Sunani, Bama. Many of these names I have not explained later. Please read up a little extra. Then Lakshman Gaikwad. I have not explained Lakshman Gaikwad. Shivakami from Tamil Nadu, Pumani, Om Prakash Valmiki, Marku, Paul Chirackarod. Wait, there are 2 people. And Arundhati Roy. So these are very important pioneers. I have given you the list so that you can read extra. Many of them I will discuss in the coming slides. Before we move on, look at the list I have made of some very important research books. We Also Made History is a book of women in the Ambedkarite movement, published in as early as 1989 by Meenakshi Moon and Urmila Pawar. These are research books in Dalit studies. They will definitely ask some of these to check whether you know anything about Dalit studies. Then it was translated into English by Vandana Sonalkar, published by the famous Zuban of Urvashi Butalia. Writing caste, writing gender, narrating Dalit women's testimonies is written by Sharmila Rage. Writing caste, writing gender, narrating Dalit women's testimonies. The Exercise of Freedom, an introduction to Dalit writings, is by K. Satyanarayana and Susi Taru. Very famous book again, 2013. Like in English in India, remember, they will expect you to know major research books. Are you paying attention? Then, Defying the Odds. The Rise of Dalit Entrepreneurs is another research book. A sociological study. It is by Chandra Bhan Prasad, Devesh Kapoor and D. Shyam Babu. Have you heard of Dalits, past, presence and future? That is also important. Dalit Studies is a very famous book edited by Ram Narayan S. Rawat and K. Satyanarayana. K. Satyanarayana, of course, is the most important critic of these days. Net new batch will start in February. You can just WhatsApp our Telegram, our office, and they will register your name and let you know the details. Dalits and the Making of Modern India. That is by Chinnaya Jangam. Dalit Panthers and Authoritative History. That is another book. Critical Writings of Dalit Literature by Dasari Manohar. Right, like in English in India, they might ask you which of the following writers has not written or has written major volumes on Dalit literature. They will ask. Then, Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. Important book, remember. Caste, Origins of Our Discontents. Can you see? Dalit Literatures in India, edited by Joshil K. Abraham and Judith Misrahi Barak. Remember all this? And now B.R. Ambedkar. B.R. Ambedkar has written both writings as well as speeches. Waiting for Visa is his autobiography. Castes in India was a famous speech. Castes in India, their mechanism, genesis and development. Remember, at this time, when Ambedkar was writing, many mainstream Indian leaders ostracized him. They did not want him to be associated with them. The Problem of the Rupee, Its Origin and Its Solution is another famous book. Bahishkrit Bharat, India Ostracized is a newspaper. The Annihilation of Caste is a studied book. Federation versus Freedom, Thoughts on Pakistan. There are many weeklies associated with him, like Mook Nayak and Janta. He was the chairman of the drafting committee of the Constitution. So I should also write the Indian Constitution here. And now we'll talk about major figures in Dalit literature. Baburao Bagul is famous for his collection of stories. Jeva Mi Jad Chorali, or When I Had Concealed My Caste, translated by Jerry Pinto. Another book is collection of short stories. Second collection is Maran Swasta Hota Hai. Death is Getting Cheaper. These two short stories are very famous. Ambedkar Bharat, Akar, etc. are poetry collections. Baburao Bagul is a pioneering writer of Dalit literature. Namdev Dhazal was a founder of the Dalit Panther movement, as you know. He founded it along with Arjun Dangle, Raja Dhale and J.V. Pawar. Remember J.V. Pawar? He wrote the authentic history of Dalit Panthers. Major works by Namdev Dhazal include Golpita. It is his first poetry collection. How Educated Are You? That is another important book. Priyadarshini is about Indira Gandhi. He wrote 2 novels. Andhale Shatak means blind century. Ambedkari Chalwal means Ambedkarite movement. Remember, Ambedkarite movement is a novel by Namdev Dhazal. His poetry was translated by Dilip Chitre, Marathi writer. Arjun Dangle is one of the founders of Dalit Panthers. He edited Poisoned Bread, the first anthology of Dalit writing in English. He did a psychoanalytical study of Dalit men. Are you getting me, guys? Is it interesting? There is so much information here. Om Prakash Valmiki is famous for his autobiography, Juthan. Jutha is leftover. It was translated by Arun Prabha Mukherjee. I have not included Vasant Moon in this PPT, I think. I will add Vasant Moon. I have to check his dates and everything. Growing Up Untouchable in India. He was the editor of Ambedkar's writings. Vasant Moon was the editor of Ambedkar's writings. Sadiyon ka santaap. Bas, bahut ho chuka. Ab aur nahi. These are very important poetry collections by Om Prakash Valmiki. Short story collections are Salam and Ghuspitiye. He also wrote Dalit Sahitya ka Saundarya Shastra and a history of the Valmiki community called Safai Devta. Will you remember, guys? Oh, you couldn't see it. Wait. Now, Vasant Moon is the author of Growing Up Untouchable in India, which is an autobiography. Daya Pawar or Dagdu Maruti Pawar is the author of Baluta, written by the illiterate Dagdu Pawar to the more literate Daya Pawar, translated by Jerry Pinto. And he introduced the autobiographical writing to Dalit literature. Autobiographical writing for the first time started in Dalit literature with Daya Pawar. Kondavada is a poetry collection. Vitthal is a short story collection. He also wrote the screenplay for Dr. Ambedkar, the movie of Jabbar Patel. Vasant Moon is there. I thought Vasant Moon is not there. I had added. Ta-da-dang. Vasant Moon was a civil servant. I told you he edited Ambedkar's works. He's a scholar on B.R. Ambedkar. He has written many books on Ambedkar. His autobiography is Growing Up Untouchable in India. Then Narendra Jadhav, academician, was Vice Chancellor of Pune University, member of Rajya Sabha. He wrote many books on Ambedkar and autobiographies including Outcast and Untouchables. Professors who contributed to Dalit literature are Arun Prabha Mukherjee, Elinor Zelliot, Gail Umveth. Women in Dalit literature, they faced triple discrimination. Mohini Chamarin is the first Dalit woman writer. Mohini Chamarin, she wrote a short story named Thieves of the Subordinated. Urmila Pawar, Aidan is a play. She was introduced to the women's organization Matrini by Hira Bansode. Aidan or Weave is her autobiography, also translated by Maya Pandit. Maya Pandit. Bama or Faustina Susairaj. Akhil Raj seems to have joined now our session because we already talked about Mahashweta Devi in detail. He doesn't seem to know. Bama is a Tamil Dalit feminist who wrote Karukku. It was translated by Lakshmi Holmstrom. And other novels are Sangadi, Vanmam, and Kusumbukaran is a short story collection. Kandatam. She wrote a story, Single by Choice. She wrote a story in Single by Choice. Meena Kandasamy, also Tamil, she edited The Dalit. And her famous works include Touch, Miss Militancy, Mrs. Nahi, Miss hai na? Miss Militancy. Miss Militancy is about Silappadigaram. Kannagi in Silappadigaram. A portrait of a writer as a young wife, or When I Hit You. That is also very famous by Meena Kandasamy. Kumud Paude is the author of Antaspod, her autobiography. Shantabai Kamble is the first Dalit woman to write an autobiography, The Kaleidoscopic Story of My Life. Shantabai Kamble. Then Baby Kamble or Babitai Kamble wrote Jina Amucha. Jina Amucha means our life, translated by Maya Pandit as The Prisons We Broke. Other major Dalit books. I have put other major Dalit books. I'll develop all of these into proper slides in the coming course. Coming Out as a Dalit is a very famous book these days by Yashika Dutt. She's a very urban Dalit, metropolitan. Urugeri by Siddhalingaya is famous, translated from Kannada as A Word with You, World. Strike a Blow to Change the World. That is another famous work by Eknath Awad, translated by Jerry Pinto, published by Speaking Tiger. Unclaimed Terrain by Ajay Navaria. Love After Babel and Other Poems by Chandramohan. Narayana Nahi, Navayana. These are the major Dalit works. Okay, so did you like this session? Other major books continues. Why I Am Not a Hindu, A Shudra Critique of Hindutva Philosophy by Kancha Ilaya, Professor Kancha Ilaya. Hindu Philosophy, Culture and Economy, Political Economy. His another provocative and famous book is Buffalo Nationalism, A Critique of Spiritual Fascism. The Taming of Women by Shivakami is famous. Father may be an elephant and mother only a small basket, but is by Gogu Shyamala. Oh, wonderful, Anamika. Iman by Manoranjan Vyapari. And Arundhati Roy's The Doctor and the Saint. Ambedkar Gandhi Debate. Caste, Race and Annihilation of Castes. That is 2019 book by Arundhati Roy. Did you get me, guys? Chandale Ridhibrutta. Yes. I just put some representative works. So that brings us to the end of this session. I have tried to do it very comprehensively. And I hope you will benefit from it. This is a lot, and I will expand all this and develop it into Indian Literature Encyclopedia. Okay? Indian Literature Encyclopedia will come. By then, you would all be scholars. You will not need my encyclopedia. You can write your own encyclopedia. Okay, guys. So, thank you very much. This is the end of today's session, as well as Sharan Kumar Limbale, I didn't say. Oh, I just mentioned him at the beginning. I talked about him at the beginning. Akarmashi and towards the Dalit poetics. I think I somehow missed out the slide. Sharan Kumar Limbale should be added. I will add. So, thank you very much. And this is the end of this 5-day course on Indian literature. And I will send the PDF. Thank you, Anamika. Please study well. Join our GATE quizzes if you want before GATE. You can WhatsApp me and get the link. You can also register with our office if you want and join our next course. But even without all that, I'm there as every day at 6, every day at 10. So many courses, everything is there. So, bye-bye. See you on Monday now. I'll be back on Monday, but I'll post the PDF together. All Indian literature PDF I'll post together. Please join our WhatsApp group.